Hey guys, welcome back to the Atypical Declutter Game. My name is April and you are at Atypical Life. Today is day 13 and this is declutter after a season. So stop. Don't put away those pool toys just yet. When the season's ending and the holiday is over, it is the perfect time for a declutter. Everything that did not get used should go. Now's the time for it to go. Do this while your memory's fresh and challenge yourself to see if there aren't a few things that really aren't worth storing again for the off season. It's so much easier for me to declutter my clothes for the season that just passed as opposed to before it starts because of this little thing called hope. In the before time, before the season starts, we hope we will use it. We hope it will work. We hope it will look good. We hope it's comfortable. But when the season's over, we know that yard decoration didn't look so good with the house. And you know that bathing suit rode up in the back and gave you wedgies. And you know that you worked forever trying to find a home for some kind of seasonal decoration in the house and you forgot to even look at it. And you know that that hand towel failed to produce the good feels that it did when you bought it. You know all these things. They're fresh in your memory. One holiday I always declutter after is Christmas. I have too many Christmas decorations. It is one of the only holidays I decorate for, and it takes me forever to put them all out, get them out. It's such a mess, packing, unpacking. After the season's over, I always look for the ones that I forgot to enjoy. The ones that I sat on the shelf and I tried so hard to find a place for, and then I never looked at again until time to put them away. So sorry, beautiful decorations. You are beautiful. I love you, but I really have to lighten my loads and then off to somewhere it goes. It is not my attic. After a season is just a better perspective. The reality is so much harder to deny. And so do it while it's still fresh before the hope sets in again for next time.
Okay, so this is day 13. I'm up to 130 items right now. This is so crazy. So I actually decluttered these Halloween items last year after Halloween. I do these pop-up consignment shop sales. I did a video on it. Maybe I'll put it in the cards. Think about it. But just to keep myself organized, I feel like I need to give an explanation. Just to keep myself organized, I usually only photograph things right before I'm getting ready to sell them. So I'm getting ready to sell these at the consignment, and now I can count them as actually being decluttered.
And that's all I have for today. Let me know what you think. Do you make it a point to declutter after a season or before you put summer clothes up, or do you just need to put the things away and be done with them? I feel like that's a mentality too. Anyways, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to post your progress pics on Instagram, #Atypical Declutter, all one word, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. Bye! Hey everyone, welcome back to the Atypical Clutter Game. My name is April and you are at Atypical Life. Today is day 14, honor your container. I first heard the term container used by Dana K. White. She is a YouTuber with a home and decluttering organization content. She's amazing. I love watching her. But when she said that, I was so excited because finally I had concise words to describe this principle. Your container is your designated space, whether it is your cabinet, closet, bucket, kitchen, purse, entire home, backyard, whatever it is. That is your space. That's your container. Your person, who you are inside, it's all your container. Often we try and fit more things in our container than it can hold. You should see my purse. I'm so guilty of this. But what happens? Think about it. Think about your purse. When you have the right amount of stuff in your container, it should be really easy to use. You just pull the thing out, you can get to it, you can open it up, see what's in there, and you pull the thing out when you need it. When your container is slightly overfilled, you will have to take stuff out to see what's in there, and you'll start setting it aside, and then you'll have to take stuff out to get to what you need. And you'll do this in layers until you can reach the desired object. It makes every task just a little bit harder, but you can still put everything away pretty quickly when you need to. Eventually, as you attempt to put more and more in the container without removing anything, you end up with stuff sitting around the container, outside the container. You don't want to put things back. It's too complicated. You can't put everything back. And this is where the problematic visible clutter that really prevents us from ever keeping our house looking tidy. You can't put it away without a complete reorganization of the space. So I want to give you a quick tangent tip as well. If you notice that your house is super cluttered, but many of your containers are actually underused or even empty, I've seen this before, you may need to start thinking about a different organization system, or even maybe learning different tidying habits. Or labeling is great, putting labels on the outside of cabinets and things. And list making is great for all of the people who struggle with out of sight, out of mind. So back to the cluttered containers. The job here is to identify your containers that are overfilled and address it either by decluttering or finding a new container. Someone mentioned the other day, and I'll find her name and put it here, but she mentioned that even your house needs to be the right size container for you, and she went into that a little bit, and that is so true. So if you have a tiny home or apartment, maybe that's not what you necessarily want, but it's what you can afford right now for the time being. Totally understand that. Or maybe it is what you prefer, but the reality is, regardless of whether it's what you want or what you don't want, at some point you have to either decide to live with a mess and the clutter, or you can decide to release the things that don't fit in that space and reduce the amount of clutter that you have. If you live in a larger space where you have a little more flexibility, you can be more flexible with your spaces and kind of switch up and reorganize your containers and put a little bit more in this category and take a little bit out of this category for things that you don't need as much of. For example, we put our pantry in a storage room off of the garage. I don't have room in my kitchen, but I have this little extra space and I can do extra food storage there. I have extra shoes that can be stored by the door for easy access, but also really because the closet is just slightly overfilled and I can't fit there's 2 or 3 pairs of shoes that always end up laying on the floor. Also, making sure all your spaces are optimized. So sometimes adding another shelf to a cabinet can double the space that you have if you have a lot of wasted overhead space above things. Let go of some of your decorative items if you can replace them with pretty multifunctional storage. I don't know, think boxes or pretty boxes or something like that instead of a flower vase. Multifunctional furniture is also really amazing. We invested in these storage shelves. I have some behind me here that have the cubes and the pull-out bins. Those are really amazing with a kid and for just using kids' toys, even some like storage for his clothing and different things. Super easy. And what I love about it is that you're not committed to anything. The biggest commitment that I make is I put a label. I have the label printer and I put a little sticky label on the front that pulls right off when I'm ready to change it up. So there's no commitment and I just have this kind of functional, movable storage all the time. And I love it. And it changes as we grow. And it's been really, really good. My husband thinks we're going to make our whole house cubes, and I might agree.
All right, so this is day 14, declutter, and we're now at 140 items. I'm going to just consider this 10. What I really want to talk about, though, is something else, and this is actually the whole honoring your container and before and after pictures. Before and after pictures are just a great way of illustrating the container concept. I mean, look at the picture on the left and the picture on the right. Obviously, the picture on the left has way too many items to all fit in the space. And the picture on the right has items that fit mostly in the space. I think here's also a good example of like the difference between minimalist. A minimalist wouldn't have anything there on the right-hand picture. But, I'm not in that space. I'm not able to subscribe to fully to minimalism. So I do have a little extra stuff here and there. So the picture on the left for me was during the summer, and it was a time I said of really difficult decision making. And I was my son was in between 2 stages where it's like, I don't know what size shoe he wears. I don't know what shoes fit. It's hard to get him to try things on. And it was just like so overwhelming. And I had all this stuff and things were just by the container. They didn't fit in the container anymore. They were creating layers outside of the container and around the container, but they no longer fit in the container, which I have used this container since he was a baby for his shoes, and this has been his space. So I know that there was enough space here for the amount of shoes that he needed mostly. So because I had the knowledge that the space was adequate, it became glaringly obvious to me that the items were overflowing the container and that it was time to declutter.
To sum it up, think about your containers, and if they are underutilized or overutilized, spend a minute deciding whether you would like to declutter those items or those spaces and try to remove some of the stuff, or do you just want to try to reorganize the items and reorganize the items and see if you can't find room somewhere else, or do you just want to live with the mess? Let's be honest, there's no real right answer. All of these things take a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, add a little bit of stress. It just depends on where you want your stress. Do you want it to be with living with the mess every day, or do you want it to be right now trying to figure it out? It just depends what works best for you. As long as you understand the problem, you can fix it whenever you want down the road in a few weeks. Whenever you do have time, you can come back to it. So in the comments, tell us about a container in your life that is a struggle for you or one that you have overcome. I would love to hear your stories about where you've overcome your clutter and the problems you've solved and the creative solutions you've come up with. Maybe also if you're having a problem space, you'll get some feedback that will help. So anyways, thank you guys so much. Don't forget to post your progress pics on hashtag Atypical Declutter. Please do this at any time you want. Don't feel like you have to follow along in the game. I plan on coming back to this game over time and kind of re-pushing it again. So if there's not a lot of activity right now, that doesn't mean there won't be activity in the future. All right, so anyways, I will see you guys again soon. Bye! Hey guys, welcome back to the Atypical Declutter Game. My name is April and you are at Atypical Life. Today's video is day 15 and this is Things Are Not Your Identity. And there's really two parts to this, right? Owning things will not make you a blank, or on the flip side, letting go of something will not mean you aren't something, right? Unless, of course, you want to change and you're putting other actions behind it, then you can work with those concepts, whether things make you but the thing itself, it needs action behind it is basically the point. How long have you been holding on to items associated with something that you want to learn how to do? Oh my gosh, I'm the worst at this. I want to know how to do everything. I'm totally a jack of all trades type of person. I love learning. But I keep, oftentimes you're holding on to stuff that really is just, it's sat there forever. When are you actually going to learn it, right? Back in the holler that I crawled out of, we used to always say, take a crap or get off the pot. But we all do this, I think. We collect things with the intention to use them. Sometimes we collect things with the intention to learn a new hobby or skill, create a project. One of the hardest things for us to do is to let go of items associated with these ideas and these dreams before we complete them, because there's something inside of us that sees this project or skill as making our life better, or making ourselves better than we are right now, making us different than we are right now, some sort of improvement we're looking for. Ask yourself, dig into that for a minute. If you come across one of these items, ask yourself, what is that reason? What need does this project or goal, what does it hope to fulfill? And are you truly willing to make sacrifices? Are the sacrifices actually necessary to reach the goal? Is there another approach? Sometimes just clarifying what you think that these future self items will bring to you, it really helps us to understand ourselves a little bit better, and it adds a dose of realism into the tasks like decluttering. So take a minute and ask yourself about some of the hobbies or wish list items that you've been keeping around. Pick one or two of them and set a date. And if by that date you haven't found time to do this thing by that point, consider letting it go. We have to be realistic about what we have to do, and the better we get at being realistic and understanding time, the better we get with planning our time, and we can actually find time or make time to fit in new pursuits. So try this out. Try making it sooner rather than later. If possible, maybe shoot for a week and see if you can't commit to 1 hour to this hobby or project that you're holding on to supplies for. If you can't make time for it and you don't anticipate any major changes coming to your schedule, it's probably better to let it go, or it might take a serious consideration of letting it go at that point. Okay, on the flip side of this coin, letting go of items associated with a past hobby does not mean that you're letting go of a piece of your identity. Your identity is in here. It's in the brain. It's in your energy. It's the culmination of your experiences. And plus the actions that you take in the present. So letting go of an item does not take away from your past experiences, but it does free up space and time to participate in your present more fully. If you have an enormous collection of something or supplies from a hobby or past project that you no longer participate in, but it's impacting your life in the present day, I would suggest paring it away, paring it down to the absolute best of the best, and keep only those items. See if you can't find someone on the internet or in real life who shares this interest to take the lot of it. Maybe, I mean, that would be great. And then you can enjoy the space that it creates for the right now version of you, the who you want to be in the present, because isn't that really your identity? Sometimes we cycle back to old interests. That's true. That's very, very true. But if you do, you'll be starting from a best of the best point. The skills that you have, the knowledge that you have, it's the best of your best already. The collection that you have, it's going to be the best pieces. It's the cultivated pieces. Curated is the word I was looking for. And you have all of that knowledge, all of those experiences of the past. You can fall back on that. And that doesn't go away just because the stuff went away. So the takeaway here is that you're not your items. Your items don't make you anything that you are not. So just holding on to stuff is not going to make you anything except cluttered. It will make you cluttered. But it's not going to make you anything you're not currently putting effort into, and you are no less skilled or knowledgeable about a particular area of interest. If you let your equipment go, you can always come back to it. You can always find new equipment. You can always look for someone who's in your position. If you start feeling nostalgic, you can maybe hook up with people in that area of interest and maybe see if they'll let you borrow or rent, so that you don't have to make that commitment and you can test it out again, test the waters again.
All right, so day 15, 150 items. We have 10 more items here. Let's start at the top corner. These are all identity related items. So the very first thing, we have these lip balm molds. And like a few years back, I took this really big interest in like learning about DIY makeup, not makeup, but like different types of beauty products and just trying to get better ingredients in my products. And I did a lot of things. I never got around to this. And I still use some of the things I learned, but I just really had to come to terms with I'm not that interested in making lip balms, and that doesn't make me any more or less of a DIY beauty person. The other thing, we have the 3 books here. The one on top is really a very, very big social marketology. I kept thinking, I have a YouTube channel. I should really read this. I used to work in marketing. I should really, really read this book. I should. It would make me a stronger social marketing, and I just couldn't get into it. I think a lot of the things I already knew in the book. So I just couldn't get into it. But I was holding on to this book because I felt like if I am someone who's on YouTube, or if I was someone in the marketing world, I should read this book because it's going to make me, but it's not doing anything for me if it's just sitting there in my life causing clutter. Okay. Same with the paleo diet. Like I know what I need to know about the paleo diet. I don't need to read the book. And then there's another book that, has content in it that I no longer associate with. Then like the sticker pads and the art, the little, I was like, every cool crafty mom has a stamp set, and like I don't have a stamp set. We never got around to it, and like, what am I doing? The same with the sticker pads. Now the sticker pads are kind of left over from COVID because during COVID we did have time to sit around and come up with like random extra things to do, but we don't anymore. We got practices and things that we didn't have at that time. So it's like, it doesn't make me any less of an engaged mom who's doing these kind of things if I let go of these products. And then the little French calendar things. One of my goals in life is to like get to a level of conversational French, but like holding on to that calendar, like I kept thinking, I'm going to go back and look at those and learn those. No, I'm not going to learn those phrases, and learning those phrases is not going to make me conversational in French. And the only thing it's really doing is just cluttering up my life and making me feel guilty every time I see them, Like I need to be doing something.
That's all for today. Let me know if you have something that you're holding on to. I'm so curious. For me, it's everything. It's music, it's books, it's every projects. I'm so bad with projects. Anyways, let us know in the comments what you're struggling to let go of that you just really identify with. And also don't forget to post progress on Instagram at #atypicaldeclutter. And I will see you guys again soon. Bye.